Come fly with me, let's fly away.
Welcome to the World Regional Geography movie portion. Every week I hope to make one movie, and as you see right now I'm trying to make it in the sanctity of my basement. This is probably the only place in my house where it's quiet right now. The kids are running amok all over every place else. Anyways, one of the good things about online courses, as you know, is you can pretty much do them anywhere. In your basement, you can do it in your backyard, and you can do it bed, anywhere. Bad portion is there's no social contact. It's pretty much you just reading books, looking things up. So I wanted to add kind of a social part because I am kind of a social person, and so I'm going to try to make a video portion every week just to kind of give you guys a hint on what might be on the quiz. Yeah, I can see my wife's writing these things. What you should look for when you're reading, what's kind of going on in course. So I'm going to try to make them as quick as possible and brief. I'm trying to make them maybe slightly entertaining. I know I've sat through a lot of online courses, and I know some of them can be quite boring. Just watching a professor talk to you is not very, especially when you can't answer questions and him point at you and say, you. Though there is worse people you could look at. Wait, there she is again. She's running my subtitles for the show. So anyways, what I decided to do for this first one is, ever since I was a kid, a lot of our classes, you can kind of tell I'm a child of the 80s from this. A lot of our classes used the film strip. As a kid, I always wanted to make my own film strip. It was kind of an idea of how would I make one, and so, and as a kid, that was the thing you wanted to do, was turn that little film strip thing every time you heard the beep. So I decided, since I am the teacher and I can do what I like, I thought I'd make my own film strip. So here you go. This is a film strip that I've made and devised, and I hope you enjoy. Europe has been a major force in the world, for better or worse, for the past 500 years. For instance, take the language that you speak. Most likely, it came from Europe. Our system of government and laws. Europe impacts you on many levels you might not even know. Have you ever seen an earthworm? A sparrow? Honeybees? If you have, then you've just seen a small part of Europe's impact upon your world. On the flip side, have you seen any Native Americans lately? What about fascism? Communism? Genocide? Industrialization? For as much good that one might argue Europe has brought to the world, it can also be argued that they brought just as much misery. Europe is pretty close to the same size as the United States. Just like Pluto is losing its identity as a planet, Europe is finding the same thing happening to it as a continent. Some academic circles are considering it a peninsula of the bigger continent, Eurasia. While close to American size, its population is vast. America sits around 300 million people. Europe is about 700 million people. Now just scrunch a little over twice the amount of people in the same amount of space, and you have Europe. Land is at a premium, and most people live in cities. There's less suburbanization of cities due to the cost of living and land prices. Think of this. Cost of living? Gas can reach as high as $7 a gallon. Now to complicate it even further, think of each state in the US as being a different country. Now you have Europe. Each state would have different languages, money, cultures. Confusing, isn't it? Europe lies farther to the north than the US does. While it's farther north, it has about the same temperature that we do. This is because of warm currents off of the Atlantic, which bring heat constantly to the continent. Most of Europe is very close to the ocean. Europe is very mountainous. Southern Europe contains the Alps, Pyrenees, and many other ranges, while the north has had its lands gutted by glaciers, which have produced many fjords along the coast. Only in between does one find plains, and these are called the North European plains. These plains have functioned as the playing field for the many wars that Europe has hosted in recent history. European history goes way back and is important to America. European thoughts are considered Western civilization, and our country has been based steeply off of these ideas. It all started with the Greeks, proponents of democracy, philosophy, and art. This was followed by the Romans, who conquered most of Europe through well-trained armies and an extensive road system. Then came the Dark Ages, the time of castles and knights, where Europe disintegrated into a bunch of different kingdoms. The Renaissance of the 1500s pushed Europeans to rediscover their Greek and Roman past and to work towards making themselves better. Huge advancements took place in science and technology during this time. Armed with a better understanding of the world, Europeans started to explore and expand their territories. This would eventually lead them to colonizing the Americas, Asia, Africa, and Australia. While the Europeans looked at this as a great success, many under their control didn't. Loss of lands, rights, slavery, disease damaged many peoples. Europe was the first to create the nation-state. Nation-state, a group of people come together to make a government to rule themselves. These nations started competing against each other in colonialism, trade, etc., which often led to wars between the different countries of Europe. The culmination of all this nationalism can be seen in World War I and II, two of the most destructive wars in human history. The wars left Europe reeling with destruction never seen before. Europe, weakened from these conflicts, started to lose control of her colonies. European countries have now started promoting unity between their nations instead of discord to be able to better compete on the world stage. Though there has been pushes in unifying European countries, such as the European Union, into a more autonomous unit, there have been some devolution between certain people groups who want to rule themselves. Czechoslovakia, for instance, and the former Yugoslavia, which has now split into 7 nations and still counting. What will Europe's future be? That is yet to be determined. Alright, well there you have it. For those of you from the cell phone texting generation, maybe you didn't understand what the heck that was. But for those of you old timers, you probably understand how that thing goes. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the film, and I will try to keep informed with you in a little bit.
You want to play baseball?
Yeah, as you see, I've got to go. I got to play baseball. That's, a good part of an online course. You can stop in the middle and play ball with the boy. Yes, I see the mitt back there, Liam. So anyways, here's some of the things that you should be looking for as you go along, and I wish you the best in this week. If you have any problems, you can email me. Get in contact with me, and I'll try to get back to you as quickly as possible.
I don't know where to begin. We are North Americans, and for those of you who still think we're from England, we're not, no. We've been on planes and on trains till we think we might die. Far from North America, where the buildings are old, and you might have lots of mimes.